independent, bring me happy. Thank you, happy.
Welcome to your single source of Star Trek news, interviews, and clues into Star Trek's colorful hues of philosophy within humanity, plus Vulcanians. I'm Bryan Kreutz, she's Lili Fox-Lim.
And you found a captain's log. As we delve into the depths of Klingon diplomacy, Borg cybernetic terror, and humanity's heartfelt heroism, Star Trek has it all.
Yep, it sure does. And we're answering the call to explore new worlds, seeking out new life and new civilizations. Lili and I boldly go each week with an interview to cast no doubts about Star Trek's legacy and stories.
Right you are, my friend. In Star Trek, the divergence between the logical Vulcan philosophy and the emotional human nature often creates intriguing conflicts and character development, particularly in the interactions between Spock and Captain James T. Kirk.
Now, Wills, many of our Trekkies and future Trekkies alike are as bright as a shiny new penny when it comes to intelligence. However, Lili and I can explain to you, but we can't understand it for you.
It's our role to lay out the foundational Treknobabble and help make sense of it. And we want to be clear, like warming up leftover snow, watching Trek is useless if you compare it to action-packed mystical forces of a shallow Star Wars. Be sure you're watching Trek closely and listening to the dialogue of Trek's philosophy, intelligence, and diverse characters, as this creates a compelling vision of the future that continues to inspire and entertain.
Absolutely. Right you are, Lili. Right again, as always. Well, we have a very special tractor beamie for the one who is many as the finest of friends I know, and an excellent actress I've performed in a film with, plus my co-host. It's all one person. It's Lili Fox-Lim.
Who's that? Oh, it's me?
It's you, Lili.
Oh, okay.
Computer, open a subspace channel, priority 1. Sorry, down here. Actually, you're right, down here. The computer, yeah.
Channel open.
So, our special guest from her Federation shuttlecraft today is none other than
Subspace Theta Band frequency connected. Lieutenant Joanna Fabergé is sending an automated message. Select either visual interactive or verbal interactive communication channel when ready. Tractor beam me segment is establishing a connection in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, BK, I'm sure this will be a laugh and a half. I can't wait to see what you got for me. I mastered these tractor beam segments. It's like the cherry on top of an already amazing idea to think you can stump me on something Hoshi Sato related.
You're right.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
Verbal interactive trivia. Data Stay was a 4th season treasure of an episode on Star Trek. The Next Generation, where Beverly Crusher got her name, the Dancing Doctor. Name the person Beverly Crusher was dancing with in the holodeck of this episode.
Of course, it's Mr. Data.
Oh, I know this. This had to be the easy puck with open ice to tee up a slap shot butt crack the glass. With your shot, let's see if you actually do know the question here, Lili Lils.
You're in on this question, though.
Yeah,
it sounds like.
actually.
Okay, well, you probably wrote this segment. What do I say?
I did.
All right, bring on the real question, Jazz.
Okay. Oh, yes, right as always, Lili. Jazz, here we go. You're on screen front and center. Well, we all know the Dancing Doctor was Beverly Crusher, but was there an episode your favorite character, Hoshi Sato, was ever seen dancing in or even talking about dancing during an episode of Star Trek Enterprise?
No doubt it wasn't a deepfake real-time AI dance or stunt double, because Linda Park can dance her britches off. Jazz, we've howdied, but we haven't shaken hands. I know it all. As a Trekkie, you should know. Welcome to my world. BK is just living in it, and you're welcome to dance. Be warned, I never miss a 3-point shot of intricate Trek trivia.
This is true.
Well, first off, Linda Park is an active student of dance. She was quoted as saying, "Dancing has always been my second love."
Very good. Now, bonus points for knowing the Hollywood actress, but what's the answer to the Star Trek Enterprise question, Lili?
Easy. I got it. I'm just drumming up some drama on this talk show. The answer is yes. Hoshi Sato, played by Linda Park, did dance in the Star Trek Enterprise episode 2 Days and 2 Nights. Hoshi visits the pleasure planet Risa and shares a dance with an alien named Ravis.
Correct.
What? Every time you always get this. Oh, Hoshi Sato actress Linda Park is truly terrific, giving off the vibe she actually feels like someone you might know in real life. She's an awesome everywoman, and as you say, Lili, the smartest person on the Enterprise.
Oh, see?
You're right. You're right.
I knew after being on the fence about Hoshi and Archer being the smartest of the Enterprise, you would lighten up to the Lili linguistically enlightened side.
I did. Ding.
Oh, we both influence each other on so many things.
We do. Well, you're most certainly right, Lili. When are you not right, actually?
Actually, I'm always right. So.
Oh, I do have a cool little connection that I found out about Linda Park, who's my age, actually, by the way.
Ooh.
The latest role that she played on the 5th and final season of CBS's Magnum PI is named precisely as you in the real future.
What?
Right.
Now you've intrigued me. Oh, you mean for me becoming a doctor?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. Linda Park plays the character Dr. Lim in this series. A definite shout out to your future name as a beautifully thought real life reality for you, my friend.
You've seen my future, or
Guess so.
I should say Linda Park, one of my hero icons, plays me in the future.
Yes.
Amazing.
Now, on that note, let's get to our interview with an actor who plays characters frequently in a fictional future, and that is Elizabeth Dennehy on the other side of our break.
A captain's log with special guest Elizabeth Dennehy returns in a moment.
Welcome back to A Captain's Log. Our guest this week is Elizabeth Dennehy, who is indeed closely associated with the Borg in the Star Trek universe. She played Commander Shelby in the iconic 2-part episode The Best of Both Worlds from Star Trek The Next Generation's Heavy Hitters Season 3 finale and Season 4 premiere. In this storyline, Shelby is a determined and ambitious officer brought on board the USS Enterprise D to help combat the Borg threat. Her character's expertise and rivalry with Commander Riker make her a memorable part of the Next Generation series.
Yes, absolutely. It really does. A heavy hitter indeed. And after showing up in so many Star Trek books and novels, the character Shelby being written in as a formidable first officer for Riker on the flagship, or captain, now she's an admiral of her own ship. It's no wonder the character is held in such high regard after strong performances from actor Elizabeth Dennehy. Now, we're honored to welcome such a wonderful person whom Lili and I have both wanted to have a chance at interviewing.
Of course.
Yes, I mean, come on, it's Elizabeth Dennehy, not only as a talented actress, but as a Star Trek legend who reprised her role years later, actually decades later. Let's welcome Elizabeth Dennehy to Broadcast Television's only Star Trek talk show. Elizabeth, welcome aboard.
Anytime. My pleasure.
Elizabeth, your father, Brian Dennehy, was known as an actor's actor, very versatile as an actor of stage, television, and film. He won 2 Tony Awards, an Olivier Award, a Golden Globe, plus numerous nominations and memories of his booming voice are unforgettable. How early did you realize that you wanted to do what your dad and your Uncle Ed were doing?
From birth. Yeah, pretty much. Even before I even realized that you could do it for a job, I was always on. I was always look at me, singing songs, dancing. My aunt would always say, "Oh, I had to be the center of attention all the time." I was the first girl. I was the first grandchild. And I think I was spoiled rotten anyway. And, I had a head full of golden curls, and we have home movies of me just constantly on. So I loved performing. I loved making people laugh before I even knew that it was a thing. My parents were really, really young parents. Back, boys and girls back in the late 50s, early 60s, oftentimes people had to get married. And that was the case. He was like 24 or 25 with 3 children. And we were at his college graduation, and he worked jobs to make money. And then on for fun, he did theater. He did community theater. We grew up on Long Island, and he created a company called the Amityville Community Theater, or ACT. And we were in the shows. Whenever they needed kids in the shows, like Cat on Hot Tin Roof, we were the No Neck Monsters. I can remember being on set for Streetcar Named Desire. They had like urchins running by. And my father directed a production of The Tempest, and we were fairies. So when you see your parents working jobs that they hate that just to make money, and then they come alive on the weekends, that's very alluring. What did they expect, when you setting that example for their children?
Now, theater in New York, Long Island to be specific, and many other places growing up for you was commonplace. Now, I understand you and your dad would walk around and talk about auditions, but he also missed doing them after no longer having to audition for roles by his mid-30s due to his big name. Now, what advice would your dad, Brian, give you, and how did this help you land roles in theater, film, and TV yourself?
My father did a lot of TV series, lots of TV series. He was on Just Shoot Me and did lots of pilots.
What's this?
A stun gun, the latest spy technology.
It's cute.
That didn't hurt?
Nah. Now, you know what hurts? A cannonball to the gut. Ooh. Now it's getting annoying.
Dear God, I walked through Central Park for 3 hours last night.
Listen, I got Dennis some sugar cookies. I left them outside.
Hey, Red.
Hey.
Jack, Tyra's on her way up. Oh, I told you to stop playing with that thing.
It doesn't work anyway, see?
It's neat and it's cool, but it also was a roller coaster ride because we were really poor. We did not have any money, and we did not know when money was ever going to come in. At a certain point, my parents, we lived in a ramshackle, falling down house on West Gilgo Beach. My father always wanted to live there. It's just south. It's across the bay from the mainland of Long Island. Jones Beach is right next to it. And at a certain point, we had to rent the house out. We couldn't afford to keep it. We rented the house out and moved in with my grandparents. And my sisters and I all slept in the same bed. It was, we weren't like, begging in the streets, poor, but it was rough going. It was really rough. It was hard to make ends meet, definitely.
Tell us about your start into television. So you're now the third actress out of 5 to play the same character on the hit soap Guiding Light, which is well into its stride as you portray Blake Lindsey Thorpe. Tell us how the audition went and how you landed the role into the long history of playing Blake for 2 years and 20 plus episodes.
I was on the Guiding Light, played a different character. Oh gosh, I can't remember the character's name. It was a story arc. I remember I was in love with a guy. The actor's name was Vincent Irizarry, and he played some like rebel, and I busted him out of jail. And then they brought me back, and I think it's because I think the connection. My God, this is like so old history. My agent, whose name I'm blanking on, her mother was the casting director for The Guiding Light, Betty Ray, and she really liked me. So Betty kept bringing me in, and I got cast as Blake, and I lasted a year. I really was not a good fit. I really the producing an hour of product a day, so the writing and the lighting and just I'm kind of a perfectionist. It just wasn't enough rehearsal. So I was there for a year, but the best thing that came out of my time on Guiding Light was my friendship with Michelle Forbes.
Oh,
She and I
cool.
were dressing roommates. So that was great. And also the other great thing about Guiding Light was I have a photographic memory from learning lines that quickly, having to learn 40 pages a night. It drives my husband crazy how quickly I can learn lines. I learn lines really, really fast. And I actually teach people and help people how to learn lines. So that was a great skill. Not only that, but when I was doing the Guiding Light, I was doing a play at night. I was doing Tony and Tina's Wedding at night. So I would leave. I would get up at like 4:30 in the morning, shower, go to the set at 5 in the morning, shoot all day, and then I would boogie downtown in a taxi cab, sometimes just making it right before the show started. So I was exhausted. Then I would go home and memorize 40 pages. Probably doing the play and the show was probably a mistake, because both of those things need undivided 150% of your energy. And to do both, I think I wore myself out. So, but I just had dinner with Michelle recently. She's a lifelong friend.
So your dad, Brian, and Uncle Ed worked with Jonathan Frakes?
And when I got on Star Trek, back in the day, 1990, no computers, no YouTube. I had never watched the original series, had never watched Next Gen, didn't know anything. And I get on the set and I meet Jonathan Frakes for the first time. And he had worked with my father in theater when they were starting out in New York. So it's very hard to meet somebody here in this business without whom you have some kind of connection, where you know people in common. My father worked with Jonathan in this little theater in New York called the Impossible Ragtime Theater. And I think Jonathan worked with my uncle at Penn State. My uncle was probably doing shows. Maybe Jonathan was a student, and that makes sense. Or there may have been a theater at Penn State, and that's where, and he just said, my uncle was an amazing, amazing actor, really, really talented. And my father and his brother were obsessed with acting, they would act out whole scenes from On the Waterfront. They were just, had a compulsion to act, which I can't explain it any other way. Who would have 3 kids, be really struggling to put food on the table, and go off and do community theater and dinner theater on the weekends, just whatever he could get his hands on, and sneak around behind his parents' back? We were not allowed to talk about his theater habit.
Really?
He was a junkie.
Wow. That's so cool.
You can stay with us. You can stay here with us as long as you give up doing this stupid theater.
A captain's log with special guest Elizabeth Dennehy returns in a moment.
I'm sorry, but I woke up early and I saw that a weather system was moving in. It could have affected the soil readings.
So without any regard for the risk of coming down here alone?
Really, Commander, if we ran into the Borg here, 2 extra bodies wouldn't have made a hell of a difference now, would they? We had 3 hours before the storm front hit. Less than 2 hours now. Data was available. I took him. We came. I don't see your problem.
My problem, Commander, is I expect to be notified before there's a change in my orders.
Noted for future reference. Do you wish to hear my report, sir?
Go ahead.
The soil contains the same magnetic resonance traces. That's our footprint. There's no doubt anymore. It is the Borg. Deck 8, Battle Bridge.
Halt. Commander, you and I need to have a conversation.
You never ordered me not to discuss this with the captain.
You disagree with me, fine. You need to take it to the captain, fine. Through me. You do an end run around me again, I'll snap you back so hard you'll think you're a first-year cadet again.
May I speak frankly, sir?
By all means.
You're in my way.
Really? How terrible for you.
All you know how to do is play it safe.
This is Lili Fox-Lim, and I welcome you back to A Captain's Log. Brian and I are pleased to continue our interview with Elizabeth Dennehy, who plays the brilliant Shelby on Star Trek The Next Generation's most popular 2-part episode of all time, and on Star Trek Picard.
Yes, the Star Trek universe had never seen a female character like Commander Shelby, portrayed by Elizabeth Dennehy in a pitch-perfect performance back in 1990. She's not forced into the role of the nice girl who does all the hard work in the office, yet is repeatedly told to wait her turn at career advancement. She was unforgettable as her character's determination and expertise in dealing with the Borg made a significant impact on the series Next Generation and its fans.
Yes, a very impactful impression she made on The Next Generation. And BK, I believe you have the next question for Elizabeth?
Yes, thanks, Lils. So 1990 rolls around, Elizabeth, and your career takes off with a 2-part cliffhanger season finale. Then the season premiere on Star Trek The Next Generation in the Best of Both Worlds. Tell us about this audition and if there was a callback.
There's always a callback for something important like this.
Mm-hmm.
So full disclosure, Never watched the original series. Not a sci-fi fan. Don't know anything about Star Wars, Star Trek. I just am not in that world. And I've had people at conventions say to me, "What did you watch? What did you read?" Well, I went to an all-girl Catholic school, and the girls who were into original series Star Trek weren't the cool kids. They were brilliant. They were the presidents, they were the mathematicians, they were the scientists. Some of them are still friends of mine to this day. But I wanted to be with the cool kids. I was going to rock concerts and boy crazy, when we were in all girls school and we had dinner dances and stuff at the boys' school, St. Anthony's. And I was a little bit boy crazy. And what I really loved and what I've always loved since I was a young girl was British stuff. Six Wives of Henry VIII, Brideshead Revisited, Upstairs, Downstairs. I was born in the wrong century, in the wrong country, and been an Anglophile my whole life. We just spent a whole month in London this past May, and we're going back in August. I cannot get enough of England. And so that was Merchant Ivory, Brideshead Revisited. That was my jam. And so sci-fi didn't interest me. When I came out to LA and I started getting auditions and started working, I got this audition for Star Trek Next Generation. And I was like, what? All right, whatever. Okay, fine. I was so haughty. I was 28. So thought that this is the way my life was going to be, that I'm just going to be fielding offers. I was so wrong-headed and so haughty, classically trained, and just kind of looked down my nose a little bit at it. And I feel really, really sheepish and embarrassed even admitting that about what a stupid, pig-headed, haughty person I was. But it just was the way I was. And I remember I walked into the waiting room and I saw Joanna Pakula there, who had just had a big, massive star turn in Gorky Park that my father's in. And I saw her and I thought, holy crap, this must be a big deal. This must be really important. Oh my God, I wish I'd worked harder on it. I wish I had looked at it better and stronger. And I sort of got a little bit then I got nervous. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember anything about the audition. I can't remember if they gave me direction. I'm sure they did. And then I got a call back. But again, what happened in the room? But my feeling about it is that because I was ignorant, because I had no reverence for the art form or for the genre, that made my Shelby even more Shelby.
Oh yeah.
Because she comes on board the ship like, all right, where's the problem? Where are the Borgs? What? You're in my way. Get out of my way. I got a job to do. And so I think it really helped that I had no idea who anybody was. I said to Jonathan, "Oh, you're Riker. I thought it was the bald guy." I really had no idea. Sorry, my phone keeps dinging.
That's so cool.
I think that lack of reverence really, really helped. My very first convention and all the conventions for a really long time, I would go there and people would say, "Oh, I hated you. You were such a bitch." People really had a vicious reaction to me. I go to conventions now and I hear what you just said, which is I really liked you. You had a job to do. And I Shelby didn't care if she was liked. She didn't care if she was popular. She had a job to do. And she was really, really good at that job. Something that I think is really important that a lot of people don't realize is that we did not see the script 2. We read script 1. When we were shooting script 1, part 1, we had no idea what was going to happen in part 2.
Really?
Yeah, so that affected a lot of what you see on the screen, because Jonathan and I were like, is it going to turn out that I am a Borg in disguise? Is it going to turn out that we fall in love and we end up in bed together? What's going to happen? We have no idea. We had absolutely no idea if we were going to love each other or hate each other. Was I a villain? Was I a hero? So we sort of worked on where we could layer in any possible outcome. So those little snide looks, like when I say, oh my God, what's that thing with the phaser? Scatter the phaser frequencies, keep them changing.
Oh, the frequencies, yeah. Adjust the frequency, yeah.
It worked. And the shield, the tractor beam breaks or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And Patrick Stewart comes up to, and I'm like, I look a little bit like, yeah, I did that. And he puts his hand on my shoulder and I'm like, so all of those little side eyes and the looks were on purpose, just in case I did turn out to have nefarious, an agenda, a nefarious agenda or a sinister agenda, because we had no idea. And it would have looked really stupid if I was this innocent, Girl Scout just trying to save the world. And then it turns out that I'm like this horrible villain. So we had to have little ambiguous things that could be interpreted in any way.
Well, BK, we always like to give our audience an existential look into an interview that goes into the depths of Trek lore, but also into the life and career surrounding our guests. So I'm looking forward to more of that next week in part 2.
Yes, Elizabeth Dennehy has indeed been one of our many guests here on A Captain's Log, Lili Lils. Now, let's give a sneak peek of what's coming up next week in our future part 2 episode. Wait, what is it? What are you doing with this phaser?
Well, like Elizabeth Dennehy's character, Shelby, suggested to Riker, I need to randomly change the frequency of the ship's phasers. So the same can be said with our hand phasers.
All right.
This is a sneak peek into next week. Here, let me test this baby out.
Nice reference, Lils. Now that's a cliffhanger waiting to be seen with a memorable moment from the Best of Both Worlds. Absolutely.
It really is. This is almost the way to end on a high note, but as you have to say, the best of both worlds in a Picard voice to make it more memorable.
Exactly.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. Do I get to fire the phaser? Maybe not.
Bye for now.
Hello, happy, my old friend. I'm glad you've manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy. Ooh. Thank you, happy, my old friend. I'm glad you've manifested yourself into a human I can depend on to bring me happy.